Early voting now underway in the midterm elections. No matter who or what is on the ballot, you hear about the importance of the Latino vote every election cycle.
But are there misconceptions about what that means or how the Latino vote is perceived? Here's RJ Marquez and Alicia Barrera for KSAT Explains.
Benny Resendiz and Jackie Baldoso are San Antonio natives, raised only about 10 miles apart, yet in what many would consider two worlds apart.
I grew up here in Alamo Heights.
Alamo Heights, zip code 78209, is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in San Antonio with a median household income of more than $147,000. Baldoso grew up on the city's south side, just off Nogalitos.
In my statistics class in high school, we actually did a project on zip codes in San Antonio.
Zip code 78225, a median income of about $63,000 and listed as one of the poorest neighborhoods in San Antonio.
We were watching the news and we were seeing that people in Alamo Heights were getting brand new iPads for every one of their students. Every classroom had a Promethean board, while my classroom didn't even have air conditioner.
Both Latinos will make their choice at the ballot on November 8th, guided by their own experiences.
My family has always been Democratic for as long as I can remember.
I consider myself a moderate Republican.
Resendiz is a first-generation Mexican-American raised by his mother and grandmother.
When they moved here to the States in the 80s, they were here undocumented. And due to President Reagan's amnesty, they became legal citizens. So they have forever been grateful to President Reagan and the Republican Party for making them citizens.
He proudly carries on that political identity.
I just feel like their message on economic values, social responsibility, goes with my Hispanic values as well, as being responsible and providing for your family.
According to a recent study by the Pew Research Center, 80% of Latino registered voters this year say economy is one of the most important issues when deciding who to vote for. But Baldoso says it's also about the candidate's background or understanding of the struggles faced by low-income Latino voters.
They'll understand our issues much better and they can make better decisions.
Other top issues include healthcare, abortion, and immigration. And while their views are different, both Latinos agree neither political party truly understands the Latino vote just yet.
I think Latinos, along with any other minority, don't want to be tokenized. We want to be talked as if you were talking to white people.
I believe that many Hispanic voters have been hesitant to vote because they felt as if their voting doesn't matter, as if their vote doesn't count.
You know what, let's do this one. Let's do the applicant. Let's do it, sure.
That belief is why it took Stefan Delgado more than a decade to cast his first vote.
And I started to realize things that mattered to me and things that were important to me, but I wasn't doing anything about it.
But now he is doing something about it by not only voting, but helping others do the same.
Texas is becoming more and more Latino populated, and we have a voice, but I think a lot of times we weren't utilizing it.
As a deputy registrar, he sets up shop at local businesses and welcomes anyone who wants to register to vote.
This election cycle has been a lot of younger voters, a lot of young female voters. So, I mean, you can tell where that direction's going with young female voters is, you know, women's rights.
While we were talking with Delgado, he registered Justin De Hoyos, another San Antonian who was told growing up that his vote didn't mean much.
This is kind of beaten into me. It's kind of drilled into you that this is what it is. When you work with people like Stefan, and you're on the ground level, you know that's not true. That's not the case. Which is why you have situations like today where he's stepping up, you know, providing resources and just bridging the gap.
We need to quit thinking that people are going to come find us. We need to do a better job of putting it in front of people and saying, this is what's coming up. This is what's important. This is how you vote. This is how you get registered.
Stefan wants to send the message that the Latino vote does count, no matter the differences in what individual Latino voters care about the most.
We care about the economy. We care about jobs. And we also, like my grandmother's situation, we care about the border crisis.
And Latinas alone are expected to be more likely to show up at the polls for their views on abortion.
Many of us understand that it's important to ensure that our rights to maintain our health and our privacy are there.
However, will it be enough to awaken a potentially sleeping giant, an estimated 6.2 million Latinos old enough to vote in Texas this year?
I believe that the Latino voice is going to get only stronger for upcoming generations in America.
What does the Latino vote mean to me? It doesn't mean what it used to mean.
To me, it means progress. To me, it means generations of sacrifices from people before me.
There are absolutely misconceptions about the Latino vote.
It doesn't mean we vote in one particular way.
Lots of people mistakenly see the Latino voting group as a monolith, and that is definitely not the case.
I think one of the biggest common misconceptions is that we're all Democrats, and I think it is fracturing.
Not every Latino, not every Mexican is Catholic. Not every Latino speaks Spanish. Not every Latino cares about the border.
That we all have the same thought process, that we all came from the same place, that we all have the same culture, the same heritage, and it is absolutely not like that.
If I go to a family gathering, I'm going to hear a lot of different views.
My father, God bless him, he would vote every single, well, maybe not every election, not necessarily every local election, but he would always vote for president. That was, he almost felt it was his honor to be able to vote.
I think that oftentimes they focus on the Latinos when it's campaign season, but in my experience and my family's experience, we often say that we feel forgotten in the in-between.
My father is not from here, he's from El Salvador. He is, never been able to vote. And one thing that meant a lot to him was a promise that as soon as we turned 18, that we were going to vote.
When I think of the Latino vote, I think of the sleeping giant, because a lot of times Latinos don't act because, yeah, they don't think that their vote matters, or they don't think that the candidate truly cares for them.
This election gears more towards Latinos. Every election does.
We now have a voice, and it's a very powerful voice.
You can scan the QR code you see right here to take you to the KSAT Explains page, where you can find all the stories we have done so far. A new topic every single week. Look for another KSAT Explains Mondays right here on the news at 6.